Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one chief rocker in Knicks universe. Your main man, Uncle Freezy. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to another audio podcast specifically for our YouTube users and those watching on our multiple audio podcast platforms. Right, I'm still new to this. I'm still learning. So, but I still want to shout out my people that are listening to this on Apple Podcasts. Thank you. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and other audio podcast platforms. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to those YouTube fanatics, my people. Corey Lee, Miss Geraldine, C-Mac, Bo Ismail, Jason Madden, Joe Madden. Shout out to the whole Lawrence Tears family, wherever y'all at, going about y'all day. Got a topic I want to talk to you about today as I'm learning how to do this audio podcast thing. So I want to start with a question that is rhetorical, so I guess it's just rhetoric. Does tonight's game signal the changing of the guard in New York basketball? Does tonight's game against the Brooklyn Nets signify the potential changing of the guard for New York basketball? And listen, yes, it's too early to announce the changing of the guard in New York, but here we are. Is it too much pressure, or is this statement applying too much pressure to a young team and a very young front office, experience-wise? Right? It may be too much pressure. At the same time, though, the Brooklyn Nets haven't done a thing since putting together Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Right? The Brooklyn Nets invaded the city. This city that belongs to the Knicks. This city is a New York Knicks basketball town. Okay? I want to be a part of it. New York. Y'all know how this thing starts spreading the news. Right? I'm not going to get into all of that stuff, but when you hear start spreading the news, you know what's going on. You know that signifies championships. I want to be a part of it. New York. That's the beginning. When you hear those words, you think royalty, you think regal, you think championships. Right? But the Brooklyn Nets have thrown together two majestic runs that ended in nothing. But for a stitch of time, they were the most relevant team in New York. Now, how long is that going to last? The Brooklyn Nets are what you call paper champions. On paper, their teams look fantastic. On paper, on paper, their teams look fantastic, man. I mean, they had names like Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Joe Johnson, Gerald Wallace. I mean, they had names like Blake Griffin, Kyrie Irving, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant. And meantime, the Knicks counted that with names like Carmelo Anthony and you feel me? But now, oh, have them oh how the mighty have fallen. Oh, this Brooklyn team is a mess. No more Steve Nash, high profile NBA player as a head coach. The Brooklyn Nets and Steve Nash have parted ways. Interesting. The most skilled point guard maybe ever has put his foot in his mouth again. He's gone. He won't be here tonight. And no one knows if or when Kyrie Irving will ever be back. You don't know if or when Kyrie Irving will ever be back. But is Kevin Durant and a bunch of dudes you've never even heard of enough to knock off the Knicks? I say no. In my mind, in my mind, tonight should be a coronation. In my mind, tonight should be a coronation. In my mind, this team, the New York Knicks, of patchwork parts, this Three Musketeers, because we're not a big three, we're more like the Three Musketeers. We're not a big three, right? Don't have a big three, but we do give the sense of the Three Musketeers. With the fourth guy, and those that know the those that have read the book, The Three Musketeers, then you know the fourth guy is just as good and just as important as the three guys that they came together prior to him being there. Now, I'm not saying it's too early. It's too early to call Cam Reddish D'Artagnan, but it's too early to call Cam Reddish D'Artagnan, but I will say this. The Brooklyn Nets have been paper champions for about 4 years. And tonight, the night the Knicks, the New York Knicks, our New York Knicks, have the opportunity to strike a deadly blow to a wobbly franchise. Can they? Will they? Will they? That's the point that I'm getting at. And a changing of the guard, it's never easy. A changing of the guard is never easy in sports, in politics, in whatever. Changing in business and changing of the guard, it's never easy. It's a struggle. And that struggle is always real. Don't expect the Knicks to come out here and blow the doors off Brooklyn in their place. But thus far in this 2022 campaign, the Knicks are what you call battle tested. The Knicks are what you call battle tested. The Knicks at the moment are 5-5. And all 5 of their losses have come to teams with 7+ wins out of a possible 11 games. The Memphis Grizzlies are 7-4. They're 6th in the Western Conference. We lost to the Atlanta Hawks. They're 7-3. We lost to the Boston Celtics, who are 7-3. We lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 8-2. And we lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are at the moment 9-1. So for the teams that played 10 games in the Eastern Conference, we lost to the 4 best teams in the Eastern Conference. We lost to Atlanta, who is playing 700 basketball right now. We lost to Boston, who is playing 700 basketball right now. We lost to Cleveland, who's playing 800 basketball right now. And we lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are playing 900 basketball right now. The Knicks are battle tested. In those games I mentioned against Milwaukee, the Knicks were competitive. That game against Cleveland, the Knicks were competitive. It took Kevin Love turning back the clock in order for Cleveland to beat us. We lost to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are competitive. They had to knock down a franchise record 27 3-pointers in order to beat us. We lost to Atlanta. So the point I'm getting at is this a changing of the guard game? Yes. Is it going to be easy? No. Do the Knicks have what it takes to overthrow the Brooklyn Nets? Yes. Can the Knicks overthrow Brooklyn and start the changing of the guard? Yes. So tonight, the Knicks can become relevant in the greatest sense of the word, right? Because changing of the guard means you're ready to be royalty for a long time. Are the Knicks there? I believe so. I believe so. In this roller coaster of a season, and trust me, this is going to be a roller coaster of a season. Like most seasons, you're going to have your ups and downs. But this season, I think you're going to see a lot of stark changes, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of steep climbs and sharp falls, a lot of inertia going into these sideways turns, a lot of speed. Shout out to Shotgunner and Greeny from LI. What's good, y'all? Keith Turner's in the building. So how do we get here? Right? It's going to take so here's the thing. Kevin Durant is on his throne in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant is the best player in New York right now. There's no disputing that. Kevin Durant is a Hall of Famer. Kevin Durant is going to moonwalk into the Hall of Fame. Kevin Durant is going to high step into the Hall of Fame. Kevin Durant is going to sleepwalk into the Hall of Fame. Nobody disputes any of this stuff. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to ever play this game. But in order for the Knicks to initiate the changing of the guard, we need a chess piece of our own. And I believe his name is Julius Randle. While I know Julius Randle is a polarizing figure, and listen, I heard people sucking their teeth and people clicking. As soon as I said Julius Randle's name, I can see people like, I wonder what's going on other YouTube channels. So Julius Randle is not the most popular Knick of all time. No. He is not even, maybe not even an important Knick all time. But in this changing of the guard event, Julius Randle is important right now. Is he as popular as Anthony Mason and Dave DeBusschere and Charles Oakley and other guys that have played the power forward position in Knicks history? Probably not. But in this moment, right now, changing of the guard, we need Randle to neutralize a Kevin Durant so that the other guys on this roster, your RJ Barretts, your Cam Reddish, your Jalen Brunson, your Obi Toppins, your Emmanuel Quickleys, to overcome and subdue the rest of that roster. We need Julius Randle to have, dare I say, the game of his life. We need Randle to have the game of his life in order for the Knicks to subdue and overcome and overwhelm the Brooklyn Nets. And why is this important? This Knicks team has to put bad teams away and put them in their rearview mirror. This New York Knicks team is not good enough to play with their food. They're not. But in a changing of the guard scenario where you have to establish dominance, you have to do it early and often. We need Julius Randle to have the game of his life. Does that mean a whole bunch of points? No. What that can mean for Julius Randle is maybe 23, 24 points, a gang of rebounds, a whole gaggle bag of assists, low turnovers, and good defense on Kevin Durant. Because their best guy plays the same position as our best guy. I don't care about the matchup between RJ Barrett and Cam, whatever his name is, on the other team. Don't really care about Jalen Brunson versus Patty Mills. Those, we should win those. We should every other battle on. I don't care about Hartenstein versus Nick Claxton. That should be, Hartenstein should win that matchup. The matchup that we could potentially lose is Kevin Durant versus Julius Randle. And Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players of all time. Who cares? Who cares about Cam Thomas, whatever his name is? We have RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett should win that matchup. Who cares about Patty Mills versus Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson was brought here to win that matchup. Who cares about Hartenstein versus Nick Claxton? Hartenstein was brought here to win that matchup. But you can't go get a guy that's going to win the Kevin Durant matchup. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to ever play this game, even at his advanced age. Julius Randle has to play the game of his life. Or Julius Randle has to play the best game of his Knick tenure. This game is important. This game is important. The Knicks always have this game circled. This is the no sleep till Brooklyn game. So what's really at stake here is not just the Knicks beating a rival, but the Knicks' potential vault into relevancy. The Knicks' potential vault into being one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. That's what's at stake. And with no Kyrie and the Nets being a mess, the Knicks could potentially take a step up in class like a young boxer on his way up, beating a old washed up champion, or in this case, paper champion. Right now, the Knicks are a young boxer ascending, fighting against an old boxer, an old paper champion on his way down. And if the Knicks lose to an old paper champion on his way down, then we have to reassess who we are. Are we really ready for the big time? Are these young Knicks ready? Will they ever be? We'll see tonight. Let's go Knicks.